Hi everyone, I'm Paige Abbott of Health Upwardly Mobile, and this week I wanted to do part 2 of my boundaries series. And this week I wanted to talk about determining your boundaries. So last week we talked about what are boundaries, and as people start to look at boundaries in relationships, the next question that often comes up is, what are my boundaries? How do I figure out what those even are? So a few tips that I would give you. Boundaries are our needs. So step one in trying to establish what your boundaries need to be is figuring out what you need. We can do this by some self-exploration and reflection. I would encourage you to do some journaling and do some processing with people in your life about what you value, what's important to you. What are your needs in relationships? Do you look for respect? Do you look for honesty? Do you look for authenticity? What are you looking for from other people that helps you to feel connected, engaged, and valued? Needs, values, what's important to you, these really are the stepping stones that build that foundation for instructing you what you need your boundaries to be. So for instance, if one of my values is honesty in a relationship, and I find myself interacting with somebody who I suspect is not being totally forthcoming, their words are not matching up with their actions, just intuitively it's not sitting comfortably, then one of my boundaries may be that I don't engage in certain types of conversation with them. Maybe it even gets to the point I pull back a bit from the relationship. Maybe this was a really close friendship and now I'm not feeling very comfortable. I'm not feeling very safe because that value of honesty just doesn't seem to be upheld. Maybe I get some further evidence that not only is there holding back, there's actually dishonesty happening. So that further informs that my boundary may need to be to pull back further, to be quite thoughtful about the information that I'm sharing with them. Maybe I don't trust how it's going to be held in confidence. So I can look at my needs as a starting point to then determining what the action is that I can take that I'm comfortable with. A lot of people don't feel that they have connection with what they need, and I totally get that. If you've been disconnected from yourself for a long time, to start to identify what you need can be really challenging. As a starting point as well, looking at your feelings is a really important place to start. Again, you may feel kind of disconnected from your feelings, and that's okay. This is all a work in progress. This is all going to take practice. But as a starting point to start checking in with yourself, how are you feeling when you're interacting with different people, when you're in different situations, gives you a sense of what you need. So if I'm in an interaction with somebody and my stomach feels really tight and it's upset and it feels almost nauseous, that's usually an indication that there's some shame there. So then I can look at that situation that I was in when that feeling came up and start to explore, was there something going on there that was violating a fundamental need that I have? And if it was, then that's where I can start to implement a boundary for myself. Again, maybe looking at pulling back a bit in my sharing or the frequency of interaction that I have with that person, or maybe just making the interaction a bit more activity based rather than deep sharing based. Again, there's lots of options, but looking at your feelings to establish what do you need, what do you value, what's important to you, really is the foundation for starting to build that determination of your boundaries. So remembering boundaries are the parameters that we put up for ourselves to keep ourselves safe and to keep ourselves healthy. So within that, we do need to look at, what do I need? What do I value? What does support health for me? And that will inform the action that we need to take. This is all a work in progress. I commend all of you for being open to explore the topic of boundaries, because it really can touch into some uncomfortable parts of relationships for people, including relationship with self. So it takes a lot of strength and courage to look at this part of health. So keep going. You're doing great work so far, and I'll see you next week for the next part in the boundaries segments. Thanks for watching.